Thank you for joining me today for our Wednesday spiritual practice from Westminster United Church. Last week, you can remember that we did the Gestures by Joyce Rupp. Well, today I'd like to share quite an ancient spiritual practice. It's called Lectio Divina. Now, Lectio means to read, and Divina means divine. So we're going to have a divine reading. Now, I don't mean that we're going to have some kind of a seance here right now, but what we're going to do is we're going to practice by reading a passage of scripture 3 times. And each time you're going to listen for a word or a phrase that speaks to you. Now, when you do this Lectio Divina, often we do it in a group and we'll have different versions of the Bible that we're reading. Some are paraphrases and some are direct translations from the Greek or the Hebrew. And people think about it and they write things down, and at the end of our time together, we generally share our reflections. But right now during COVID, this is a practice you can simply do on your own. And it takes you deeper into scripture, because each time you read the passage, first you read it once, you come up with a phrase, you read it a second time, it takes you deeper, and by the third time, it's taking you even deeper. And by the end of the spiritual practice, you're to sit and meditate and contemplate what those words will mean for you for your day or that evening, whatever it might be that you're finding yourselves in. So what I'd like to do is try this with you, and I have some worksheets that I'm going to publish in the e-letter on Friday, and if you want a copy of it, just email me and I will send it to you. It's a wonderful worksheet for you to begin Lectio Divina. Okay, so step 1, we ask God to become present in our mind and heart. And on the worksheet, you can actually write an opening prayer. But often with Lectio Divina, I simply light my candle. I think I have a candle up here. I light my candle, and I want to point out that tonight I've put on a battery-operated candle, because sometimes people forget. If you're wearing oxygen or something like that, you can't have open flame. So just get yourself one of these candles, or a little small tea light from the dollar store, and it works just as well. Sometimes my opening prayer is just simply sitting in silence. If you put your hands on your knees like I am, you could feel the energy coming in toward your fingers and up your arms and into your heart. If you find you're distracted, it just means that you need a little more spiritual practice. Now we pick a passage from the Bible to read, and I thought I would choose the psalm that is for this Sunday, Lent 3. As I read it, listen to the words or phrases that strike you. The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of God's hands. Day after day, they pour forth speech, and night after night they display knowledge. There is no speech or language where their voice is not heard. Their voice goes out into all the earth, and their words to the ends of the world. In the heavens, God has pitched a tent for the sun, which is like a bridegroom coming forth from his pavilion, or like a champion rejoicing in the race that he has run. It rises at one end of the heavens and makes its circuit in the other. Nothing is hidden from its heat. And then I ended up by the last passage says, the last verse says this: May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be pleasing to you in your sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. So the phrase that stood out to me in all of this was the fact that nature is declaring the glory of the Creator, and yet it's not done through words. So that God is all around us. Now I would write that in my worksheet. And then I would read the passage again. And that being my focus phrase, what else from the passage takes me to a deeper place of understanding that nature of the Creator? And then I'd write that down. And then I would read it again. And I would write down another phrase as well. And then at the end of it all, on your little worksheet, you would write down saying, with what I have felt and learned and heard today, how is that going to impact my day or my night? So I'm doing this Lectio Divina in the evening right now. It makes me want to go outside and look up into the heavens and see if I can see any stars. Is the moon out? Is it not? Are there clouds there? What is nature saying to me? So that's a little snippet of Lectio Divina. Another time I will give you some other instructions, because there's different ways of doing Lectio Divina. But think of it this way, that when we read words, whether the words of a poet, whether from sacred texts, what do the words say to us that evoke a feeling, a color, an idea, a new understanding? I hope you join me in this spiritual practice this week. And until next week, stay safe.